Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beat's back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins. Can't relax. Original.
And welcome to this Tuesday afternoon NHL betting preview edition of Pucks Across Borders on Pucks Across Borders YouTube and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off tons and tons of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. It is good to be back. 4 games to go over from last night. 10 games in the NHL tonight. If my math is correct, it might be wrong and we might have more, but I think it's 10. Regardless, we will talk through it. But before then, as always, Andre, how we feeling on a Tuesday, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Great to be back in action. A lot more games today. Some interesting things to talk about. Not that yesterday's games weren't good. Yesterday's games were all competitive, fantastic, but it's just more teams. So, more teams, more fun.
Yeah, that's just simple math. I don't think that's anything controversial. I think that's just simple math. With last night, really quickly, Buffalo, they gave up 3 leads, yet they still won. So good for them. Beating Washington 4-3. Canucks lose to Canadians. Speaking about giving up a lead, Canucks with a 2-goal lead in the third period. They end up losing 5-4 in overtime. Avalanche beat the Panthers 3-1, which means we nailed our 2-game parlay last night. So congratulations to you. Hopefully everyone's counting their millions, because I know our viewers are super heavy rollers that bet thousands on every game. And Devils squeaked out a late one, beating the Kraken, beating the Kraken. They scored, what was it? Yeah. Early in the second period or third period, and it was enough to get the job done, beating the Devils 3-2. So if you have something else you want to talk about, by all means, we can talk about it. But I feel like the storyline from last night, the Devils get a bounce back win. Good for them. Buffalo got a win. Doesn't really matter. Avalanche, they're on a heater. We could easily talk about the Avalanche right now. 8-1-1 in the last 10 games. Mackenzie Blackwood, this is just based from memory earlier, but I think he's like 7-1-1 since going to Colorado, which is just good for him. That's what happens when you're on a team. No disrespect to the Sharks, but you know what I mean. But I think the real story is, Andre, at least the story that I want to talk about. And maybe it's because I'm in Canada and all we care about is Canada stuff. And, I'm listening to Canadian radio and I'm reading Canadian media. Maybe I'm just caught up in the Canadian hype train. But the Montreal Canadiens, with the win last night, beating the Avalanche, the Canucks, 5-4. By the way, if you followed my advice and took Cole Caulfield, you won your money like within 3 minutes. That took no time at all. The driest sweat you'll ever have. With that win last night, Montreal 41 points, tied with Pittsburgh in points, but based on winning percentage, they are in 8th place in the Eastern Conference, second wild card spot, 1 point up on Ottawa and Columbus, 2 points up on Philly, 3 points up on Detroit, 4 points up on the Rangers and the Islanders. And I guess 6 points up on Buffalo. I guess I might as well just include them in there too. But huge win by Montreal last night, man. Making it. Not they didn't make the playoffs, but they're in the playoffs. So this is my question to you, and you can answer my question right away, or you can tell me what you think about the Montreal Canadiens' efforts and then get to my question. You're a professional, whatever you want to do. But my question that I'm thinking of today, and first and foremost, I want to give credit to where credit's due. There's a radio station in Toronto that I was listening to, and they were having this conversation. So I didn't come up with this narrative. I heard this conversation earlier today, and it really made me think, and I want to talk to you about it. So, Montreal Canadiens, they're in a playoff spot. They're competitive. Do they trade out at the deadline? Do they still stand pat, sell, stick to the plan, or is this rebuild happening quicker than we thought and it's time to buy? Personally, I think both of those topics are way too soon, and enjoy the ride and see where we are in March, but I'm curious to see where you fall on it. Also, I'm sorry, Andre.
You're good. Go ahead.
One last thing. Watching that game last night, I felt incredibly proud of myself because I know that we're still in January, but I did pick this team as my favorite long shot bet of the offseason to make it to the playoffs, and I feel pretty good right now. I'm not going to lie.
You did. And it started out pretty rocky. Remember when
Yeah, I did.
Marty St. Louis was about to get canned because the NHL can't bear to see a coach have a bad 20-game stretch.
Yep.
If he didn't have a bad 20-game stretch. But here they are, the Montreal Canadiens, as feisty as you in particular predicted them to be in the playoffs. Kudos to them. Kudos to, just that Christmas trip. Maybe it was a little before then, but like mid-December, they just took off. They hit their groove. They hit a stride, whatever you want to call it, because they were down. They were truly down in the dumps. And Patrick Laine came back. Something just clicked. They won. We lost. Let's win 3 more against playoff teams. They're not just winning. They're winning in a pretty solid fashion. And a lot of it has been against good teams, and a lot of it has been on the road. This is legit. As far as what they're going to do, that's always the tricky part, because you plan the goal of this season, the goal for any franchise really is long-term success. You want to win the cup, you do what it takes to win now, but you ideally, unless you know, like, we can get it this year, you're trying not to handicap your future. So when you're talking about what the team's going to do at the deadline, I don't want to be a bummer, but do you think the Canadiens are going to win the cup? Do you think they're going to win the East? Probably not. So I don't see them pivoting to a bye. I can say that pretty confidently, even if they are, it's Montreal, original 6 franchise, huge fan base, passionate fan base. I don't see the bye though. Do I see a sell? Maybe not. Maybe it's a soft sell to get rid of some of the older guys, maybe some of the guys that can produce elsewhere but won't long term hurt the team, but it's also going to be very hard to look at a young locker room just performing the way they are. I mean, Lane Hudson's leading all rookies in scoring right now. He's a defenseman. Like, you can tell a guy like that, hey, I know you're playing so well. It's your first year. I know the team is in a playoff spot, but in this business, we sell when we're in a playoff spot. You can't really do that. It's a bad message to a young locker room. So
I agree.
We probably see a creative sell from the Canadiens this deadline. They try to make the playoffs at the same time. They're not exactly they're going to sell a little bit, but they're not going to just completely derail their playoff train, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Is like I'm not saying that they should trade assets at the deadline and try to beef up their team to be this like contender, because I don't think that's what they are. But I don't think that they like. I was hearing someone talk about it and basically saying that they should sell now so that they don't become like a playoff team, essentially. Like not sell guys that are staying around, obviously. Like you're not selling Suzuki and Caulfield and Slavkovsky and Kirby Doc and Hudson. Like you're not trade those guys. But if someone calls you right now and asks, for Brendan Gallagher or asks for David Savard, you should do it so that you get worse and blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying do nothing. Like, just let it play out. You're going in the right direction right now. I don't know how many more top 5 draft picks they really need. I feel like they're around the corner from starting to really build this thing out to be a contender. You're starting to build your goaltending. The defense needs to get deeper. But I'm just saying, either way, just leave it alone. And if that being said, if we get off the show today and they proceed to go on an 8-game losing streak, then we're talking about a different story. But if they're staying in a playoff spot at the end of February, just ride it out, man. See what happens. And worst case, you get pumped in the first round and your long-term young players are getting playoff experience, right? And I think too, to what you were saying about the teams that they've been beating in this stretch, just to kind of shift the conversation back to that, they got destroyed by Pittsburgh 9-2 on December the 12th. And 2 nights later, they lost to Winnipeg 4-2. I remember that game. It made me money. That was nice. But they got destroyed by Pittsburgh, lose to Winnipeg. They've lost 1 game since. And it's just, like you said, man, the teams that they're beating. They beat Buffalo 6-1. Okay, fair enough. Beating Detroit 4-3 and Detroit 5-1. Sure, it's Detroit, but same team, back-to-back nights, that's hard to do. Usually that's a split situation. They lost to Columbus 5-4. Columbus, we know that team can score with anyone in the league. Beat Florida 4-0, Tampa Bay 5-2, Vegas 3-2, all on the road, by the way. And then proceed to lose to Chicago, beat Colorado 2-1 in a shootout, both of those games on the road, and beat Vancouver last night 5-4. And I think that's the impressive thing too, is you beat Florida, Tampa, Vegas, Colorado on the road in a row. There's something there, man. That's not fluky stuff. There's something to that. And we talked about Colorado very briefly at the top of the show. That team is rolling right now, and you beat them at home 2-1 in a shootout. That's impressive stuff, man. So I love what I'm seeing from Montreal. I love that plus 750 ticket that I gave out at the beginning of the year to make the playoffs. We'll see what happens. But it's a fun ride in Montreal, man. And it's good to see. It's just more fun, dude. When Ottawa's better, when Montreal's better, when all the teams in Canada are competitive, at least for me up here, it's just better. It's just more fun. And it's kind of that simple for me.
I think for me, here in America, at least for Rangers fans, New York fans, it's fun hating in Montreal. It really is. And vice versa, they're a loud, passionate bunch when that team is good. So, yeah, let's bring them back. They have some really good rivalries, obviously with you guys, Boston, what have you. So it's good for the league when a team like that is competitive, championship competitor and contender rather, and just they're not there yet, but it's nice to see steps that maybe they're getting there, and just to hammer this home one last time because it is
Mhm.
worth hammering home. They are beating very good teams.
Yes, man.
Like you beat one or two, okay, you're hot. It's a fluke, whatever. Um, good, good little run, whatever. You beat like five in a row, and two of them are among the hottest teams in the league actively. Hanging with the big boys, you can't ask for much more than that. So, kudos to them. Good job, Montreal. Keep doing your thing.
Well, and to your point of who they beat, who they have up next is really interesting because they play Washington, Dallas. So Washington on the road, Dallas at home, then Utah and Dallas again, both on the road, then Toronto, then which is at home, Rangers, Tampa Bay Lightning at home, Detroit on the road, then the Devils, Jets, and Wild all at home. Like that's a pretty intense month of hockey, man. Like that's like we'll see where they're at when this month is over. But I mean, listen, Washington hard team, Dallas hard team. Dallas has been struggling on the road this year, so we'll see. Utah not great at home. Dallas better at home. Toronto, I guess it's going to be interesting to watch. I'm looking forward to see it.
Yeah, I'm right there. Right there. From the teams you named, it only sounded like two or three that at this point you would count as a win. So
Yeah,
we'll see how they do. If they play the stretch like 500, they're there. They're there.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And I mean, listen, dude, like, there's no disrespect. Like, we've talked about this a lot, but the team that they're currently battling with right now is Ottawa. And as much as I do think on paper Ottawa is a better team, Ottawa hasn't proven anybody anything. Like, we're not just giving this to Ottawa. Like, Montreal could not easily go up and grab it, but why couldn't Montreal go up and grab it? You know what I mean? Ottawa has a lot to prove still, so it'll be fun to watch in the Atlantic. All right, moving along. Talked about that for a little bit, so we gotta let Andre talk about his boys. New York Rangers in Manhattan hosting the Dallas Stars at the Madison Square Garden. Had it loaded up. Here we go. Minus 178 now. Some money coming in on Dallas. The Rangers plus 146 at home. Minus 1.5 for Dallas is plus 138. Plus 1.5 for the Rangers is minus 170. Over is 6.5 at minus 120. And the under is minus 102. Andre, what do you got, bro? Dallas Rangers, talk to me.
Yeah, I know the Rangers beat this team. I guess it wasn't a full month ago. It was like
A couple weeks.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
weeks ago. Random, rare win in a sea of losses. And we know the story on this Rangers team, right? They've lost 16 to 21 or something crazy like that. None of them went to OT. It's bad. The Stars, they were struggling for a while, but 2025, or I guess a little bit before then, but they seem to have found new life. They've won 4 in a row. They have a 6-game point streak. They're kind of clicking again. They're doing well. The challenge with the Stars really all season has been on the road. They're a 500 team on the road. I know they have they've won 2 away games consecutively, but Utah and Chicago is not exactly moving the needle. This is kind of important for them. One, starting off again on the road, starting off a long road trip. See if you can keep winning these games because you can't just be a 500 team on the road forever. That's not going to get you where you want to go if you're a championship contender. So it's important in that regard. It's also kind of important to get your lick back. You only play this team twice a year. You lost the first one at home. They're not that good. You should get them back the second time. You should probably punk them this time. I know the Rangers have won 2 or 3. It was a 2-1 game against Boston. It was the second win. It was against probably the worst team in the league. And in between that, they gave up 7 goals in a loss. So looking at it, probably got to go Dallas here. You got to go Dallas -1.5. Their offense in particular needs to muster more than 1 goal against this Rangers team. That was really rough. New York, we kind of got some life going offensively lately. It's just coincided with losing our top goalie. And the defense has obviously been an issue all season. So high scoring game. I think the Stars pull it out like 5-3 though. So I'm taking that puck line.
Yeah, I mean a couple things that concern me about the +1.5 here, or the -1.5, sorry, for Dallas. I'm right there with you. I do think Dallas wins this game. That game against the Rangers in Dallas just a couple weeks ago that you were referring to, I'm not saying Dallas didn't dominate them by any means, but Shesterkin made 41 stops. He had I was going to say he had the game of his life, but that's not true. That's just an average Friday for Shesterkin. But Shesterkin made 41 stops. I feel like I could be way off on this, but I feel like the Stars were 0 for 7 on the power play, or something ridiculous, 0 for 4. Maybe it was 0 for 7. There was an 0 for 7 game in there somewhere. That might have been it. I can't remember. But that was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my memory's coming back, man. The older I get, I'm actually kind of getting a bit more keen up in the old noggin. But I do so there was just situations like that, man. The power play really hasn't been good all year long. But on the road, their power play is 20-something% on the road. And overall for the season, it's 15%. At home, it's 10% for some weird reason. But on the road, their power play is actually very good. So we'll see what happens there. The Dallas Stars just haven't been beating teams by 2 or more goals. And you pointed out the 8-8 road record. I actually, shameless plug, I actually wrote a piece for the Hockey Writers today about this road record and how you're on a 5-game road trip now. 8 of your next 13 games are on the road. The Colorado Avalanche, the Minnesota Wild, and the Winnipeg Jets. All those teams are ahead of the Dallas Stars right now. You know what they all have in common, besides a lot of things, is they're all great on the road. They're all really good on the road. So I'm right there with you, man. The Dallas Stars need to turn it around. I think they do tonight. However, they have won a couple games by 2 goals recently. But again, Buffalo, Chicago, they needed to do that. That's what they were supposed to do. But that hasn't been the trend as of late. So I like the -1.5, and I won't talk you out of it. But for me, I'll probably just stick. We're going to switch it around today, bro. You're going to take the -1.5, and I'm going to take the 60-minute money line. We're going to switch roles here a little bit. -115 for the Dallas Stars on the money line, and I like the over. Have we seen who's playing net for this game for the Rangers? I know that Ottinger's playing tonight.
Yeah, it should be quick.
Yeah. So I feel like Quick, you can tell me if I'm wrong here. You know better than me, but I feel like Quick's playing a lot. And that makes me nervous. And Ottinger, as great of a goaltender as he is, he's been pretty average on the road. So I've I'll kind of lean on the over here. But one thing consistent about the Stars as of late, they're averaging just below 30 shots on net when they're on the road. And I like Jonathan Quick over 26.5 saves, minus 132. I think even if Dallas wins this game 4-2, 4-3, I think that they get 30, 31, 32 shots on net. So give me the Stars 60-minute money line and give me the over and give me Jonathan Quick over 26.5 saves. Moving on to Edmonton in Boston. The Oilers are minus 154 on the road. Boston plus 128 at home. Minus 1.5 for the Oilers, plus 158. Plus 1.5 for the Bruins is minus 196. The over is 5.5 at minus 132. The under is plus 108. If you think that this Boston Bruins team is still the team that you've been watching for the last 15 years, them, I don't care if it's the Oilers, them being underdogs at home should tell you everything you need to know about this team. I know the Oilers are a great team, but to be favored this heavily on the road against Boston, in Boston, that's pretty crazy to me. What do you see in this game?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, it was unheard of in a sense. The Bruins would have been underdogs at home to really anybody. But here they are, and it's not a mistake. There's just, we talked about them a bunch. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. When they score,
I think so.
They can't stop anybody. When they're getting a ton of stops, they can't score. There's just nothing. There's no complimentary hockey going on right now. 4 straight losses. Doesn't matter if they're home. Doesn't matter if they're away. It's just, I guess they've been better at home. Let me not say that entirely, but this just hasn't really been a winning and productive and good, whatever you want to call a team. I'm trusting the Oilers here. I'm going to take the 60-minute line in lieu of the puck line, but I feel confident the Oilers are going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the 60-minute line is the play. I don't know. The Oilers, like, obviously a very good team. They haven't necessarily been dominating teams overly, like, they've been really good and they've been winning a lot of games, but I feel like they've been squeaking out kind of these one goal games lately, and I'm kind of with you on the 60-minute money line on FanDuel that is at plus 105, which I think is actually really good odds. Dallas being minus 115 against the Rangers on the road, Edmonton being plus 105 against the Bruins. I actually really like those odds a lot. Draisaitl scoring every single night. It's actually quite outrageous what this guy is doing. Plus 145 for him to score. And Pastrnak scoring a bunch right now too, and he's plus 150. I'll tell you something. Talking about Boston telling you all you need to know. Don't you feel like we've been doing this show since October of 2023 now? Don't you feel like David Pastrnak to score a goal last January was like minus money? Like for Pastrnak to be plus 150 to score, yeah. That feels like really long from where he was last year. So I like Pastrnak to score, and I like Draisaitl to score. I would like Zach Hyman to score at plus 220, but I just traded him off my fantasy team, and I need him to not produce for a little bit. So that's how I feel about that. Moving on, Carolina in Tampa Bay, the struggling Tampa Bay Lightning, the Hurricanes minus 125 on the road, plus 104 are the Lightning at home, plus 100. Now I correct myself, minus 120 are the Hurricanes now, and plus 100 are the Lightning now. Minus 1.5 for the Hurricanes is plus 198, plus 1.5 for the Lightning, minus 250 over 6.5 is plus 116, and the under is minus 142. What are you seeing here? Carolina Hurricanes in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, these teams met once for a 1 win for Tampa and Carolina. Let's get that out the way. Right now, you look at the Canes, they're just kind of alternating wins and losses right now, kind of in Islanders mode, where it's just, we lose 2 points, we get 2 points. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Then you got Tampa, who was, I feel like they've just been so streaky this year, and they were riding high, they were surging, if you will, and then suddenly just came grinding to a halt. I mean, not suddenly. They met the mighty Montreal Canadiens, and then it came grinding to a halt. They lost 4 in a row. They've totaled 5 goals during this 4-game losing streak. And we've seen this from this iteration of Tampa before. Now, good news, if you are a Lightning fan, they ended that losing streak at 4 games. Earlier in the season, they got off to this crazy start. We were like, yo, look at these guys. And they lost 4 in a row, pretty much made themselves 500 again, and flirted around there for a while. This is these are both good teams. Let's get twisted. I think Tampa, especially now that they're back at home, is a lot better than they've been the past, or I guess I'll just say 2025 is a blanket statement to keep it clean. I think they were a lot better than they performed in Cali. You look at what they've done at home this year, 11-6-1. Compared to Carolina, 9-2 on the road. I'm going to roll with the Lightning here. I think they bounce back, get back in the column. The Canes, they won last time out. They're doing this balancing act. You're seeing inconsistent defense and goaltending from them, to be expected. We've seen the offense, not as much lately, but towards the tail end of December, they had a lot of rough games in a row. There's reason to hesitate for both sides, but especially at home, which has been a haven for Tampa hockey for a while now. I trust that Lightning money line, especially at plus odds.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The funny thing, so my favorite bet in this game is the over. I feel like both goaltending situations are a little bit shaky right now. Obviously, Vasilevsky is one of the best goaltenders in the game when he's on. It's just been tough sledding lately, man. There's no two ways around it. I really do like that over, especially plus money. Plus 116 over 6.5. I really, really like those odds a lot. The one kind of quote unquote long shot bet that's actually my one of my favorite long shot bets of the night. And I don't like that we're disagreeing. It really makes me feel uncomfortable, but I kind of really like Carolina minus 1.5 here. I just, the way Tampa Bay has been playing lately, what you said about Tampa Bay at home, Carolina on the road, heard and understood. You make a great point. Just something about the way Carolina's playing versus the way Tampa's playing right now. I just can't get there with the Lightning. And I do like Carolina with the minus 1.5, and plus 198 is about right. Like, you're on the road to be favored by 1.5 goals on the road. Plus 198 makes sense, and I'm all over it. So I like the Hurricanes to get a nice 5-2, 5-3 win tonight in Tampa Bay. Moving on to the Ottawa Senators in Detroit, minus 128. 26 now are the Senators, plus 105 now are the Red Wings. Minus 1.5 for Ottawa's plus 198, while plus 1.5 for the Red Wings is minus 250. Over 5.5 is minus 128. Under is plus 104. What do you got here? Senators in Detroit.
Yeah, I'm taking the home underdog again. Detroit 4-game winning streak. New coaching staff kind of found some life, kind of found some juice for this team. They scored at least 4 goals in all those games. The offense from last year looks like it's back. 3 of those games, they didn't allow more than 2 goals. So this Red Wings team playing really well right now, and they are back at home. So it's good for them. Whereas the Senators, This has been a really, really long road trip. They lost 4 or 5 on it now after racing off to a 3-0 start. Can't really blame them for the circumstances. I'm sure they're just tired of travel. I'm sure they missed their beds, whatever. But that doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is who's going to win, who's going to make me the money. And I see that in Detroit. So taking the Red Wings here plus money, I like it. I wouldn't even be afraid to take them -1.5. I'm going to pull it up right now. I feel pretty confident that the Red Wings, the way they're playing right now, the way that the Senators have just looked as they continue to travel, this one's going to go well for Detroit, which pretty energized city right now. We're talking about Detroit. Shout out to the Lions. The Red Wings are plus 240 at -1.5.
Yeah, you know what, man? So, first of all, before I dive into this game, a couple things I just want to say. Number one, yesterday's show started around 6:30. We didn't have a lot of time. We had big games to get to. I completely dropped the ball. Congratulations to the United States of America World Junior Under-20 hockey team on gold medal. We didn't talk about that yesterday. Congratulations to you guys. So happy for you. First time in your history, back-to-back gold medals. So good on you. Have your chance to repeat next year in Minnesota, which is a great spot for a World Junior Hockey Tournament. So looking forward to it already. Next year, Canada, who knows what that looks like next year. Your guess is as good as mine. But congratulations to the United States of America on the back-to-back gold medal victories at the World Junior Hockey Championships. Now, because of those World Junior Hockey Championships, like we've talked about many times, the Ottawa Senators have been on the road forever. Now, that tournament's been over for like 3 days. Like, if I was them, I'd just be like, yo, this tournament's done. Why are we still on the road? Like, let's go. Let's get back home here. But they are back on the road, or still on the road, and they're in Detroit. And I'm right there with you, man. I think a couple things. Number one, yes, long road trip. They were playing really well. That game against Dallas was really weak. I think actually Brady Tkachuk called it embarrassing hockey. The Linus Allmark injury came at a really bad time because he was playing really, really well and then got hurt out week to week, not on the road trip anymore with them. So they're finishing out this stretch without Allmark, and no one knows when he's coming back. This is tough. The tail end of a road trip, you don't have your number one goalie. That's a really tough spot to be in. And I'm taking Detroit plus 106 too. I'm not going to go as crazy as you with the puck line, but I am on this Montreal plus 106 as well. Ottawa's played really well. Nothing against this team. It's been a lot as of late, and I think without Allmark, their good luck is kind of running out on the road. They need to get back home and get some home cooking. And until then, I'm taking Detroit plus 106 at home. DeBrincat starting to cook up a little bit here. It's been a while. Not the most productive season for him. Plus 210 for him to score tonight. I'm all over it.
That's a fantasy guy, right?
Pardon me?
Still in your fantasy team?
Last year.
It was last year.
Yeah, last year. No DeBrincat. I feel like, did I have him? Did I trade him? I had him last year for sure. I don't know. Regardless, tough loss last week in fantasy. I got to bounce back. The Columbus Blue Jackets are in Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yo, did you hear about this? The Minnesota Wild. So the Minnesota Wild played Carolina, and like the night after Pittsburgh played Carolina, so their hotel visits like overlapped. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, the prank war. Fleury,
yeah,
keeping it up. Hell yeah.
Marc-Andre Fleury like putting like like meat sticks and Sidney Crosby's jockstrap and stuff. That's hilarious. I love it. Just a bunch of 40-year-old kids, dude. It's hilarious. It's like a hockey tournament when you let the teenagers out of the room at a hockey tournament. I love it. But anyway, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, who was it? Was it Mike Russo for The Athletic who wrote a really good piece about it? Go check it out. I might have that name messed up, but it's all on The Athletic. It was really funny, so go check that out. Columbus Blue Jackets plus 132 in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 156 now. Columbus plus 130, minus 1.5 for Pittsburgh is plus 148, plus 1.5 for the Blue Jackets is minus 184. The over is 6.5 at minus 112, and the under is minus 108. I just want to quickly pull up. Yeah, so they've only played once so far this year, and it went exactly how I think these games go. Like, you tell me what you think, man. Automatically, when I was looking at the odds this morning, the first thing I thought was Columbus and the over. I just feel like this is a bad matchup for Pittsburgh. This Columbus team can score with anybody in the league, and they can get scored on like anybody else in the league too. And I just think Columbus plus 132 is really good value. Plus 130 now on FanDuel, and over 6.5 minus 112. I love it.
Yeah, I was actually just going to stay away from a side here. I don't trust Columbus on the road this season.
Fair. That's
really
fair.
All season, but Pittsburgh 3-game losing streak. So staying away from a side here, even though Pittsburgh has a winning streak at home. So they're probably I think I would take them in this one actually, but you got to take the over here. I mean, these are the two teams allowing the most goals per game. 6 of the last 7 for Columbus finished over the total. You look at Pittsburgh, it's 4 of their last 6 and it over the total. They've met already this season. 6-2 Jackets win. You're not getting over 8.5 on books. So obviously that one went over the total. Just take it. Don't overthink this one. Over 6.5 goals. Two teams that allow the most per game. It's simple, but it works.
Yeah, 100%. I'm right there with you. This is actually, for whatever reason, this matchup is a really fun matchup. And I was listening to the radio earlier this morning, and the guys on it were arguing of whether this is a rivalry or not. And I think it absolutely is. For whatever reason, these games are always fascinating. They're always fun to watch, and we will see what happens tonight. Excuse me. Moving on to the Toronto Maple Leafs beat Philadelphia in Toronto in overtime on Sunday. They are now in Philadelphia to take on the Flyers once again, minus 144. Philadelphia is plus 120. I should double check these odds because they're never the same. Philly plus 118 now. Toronto minus 142, minus 1.5 for the Maple Leafs, plus 172, plus 1.5 for the Flyers, minus 215. The over is 5.5 at minus 128, and the under is plus 104. What do you see here, man? Toronto, Philly in Philadelphia.
A good old-fashioned home and home. Gotta love it. Usually, I think you said it earlier today, actually, usually you get on a home and home, you split them. I'm not overthinking this. I'm taking the better team here. Toronto money line. Nice and easy.
Yeah, Toronto's been playing really well right now. No Jake McCabe. He is out. Who was it? I'm completely blanking as we tend to do on here. He got in a fight. Jake McCabe got in a fight. Was it Hathaway? Might have been Hathaway on Pittsburgh. It was, right? Yeah, he got in a fight. Guess who's in the lineup tonight after being scratched for the last few games? Ryan Reeves. He's back. Ready to go.
Yeah.
This is not subtle. This is very obvious what this is about, and I can't wait to see what goes down. But fighting aside, Toronto's just been a really consistent team lately. They're getting good goaltending despite Stolar's being out. Whoever they put in the crease this year is just playing really well, and it's super weird, and I don't like it. It makes me nervous and paranoid, but it's working right now. And once again, listening to the radio today, a Toronto radio host said these words. I want you to understand this, Andre. This is not just coming from me all the time, man, okay? A Toronto radio host said, it's very weird because the Leafs are winning games that all of us are waiting for them to lose. It's just a bizarre year, man. It's a bizarre year. They're in first place in the division. They're winning games. Excuse me. Yet again, this is a game that you feel like they would lose Tuesday early in the week on the road. But I like where this Toronto team is at right now, man. I'm going to take the -1.5 as well. I don't know. Like Matthew Nyes, 4 goals in his last 2 games. He's been on an absolute heater right now. I feel like is he going to score a goal again? I don't know. But I feel like he's feeling himself right now. And so for Matthew Nyes to get 3+ shots on net is +215. So will he score? I don't know. But I do think he's going to get a bunch of shots on net. +215 for Matthew Nyes to get 3+ shots on goal. I will also say this. William Nylander has been in the freezer for a little bit, man. He's cooled off a little bit. For him to get 4 shots on goal and snap out of it is +140. Moving on to St. Louis in Minnesota. Minnesota -134 at home. -126 now. Lots of money coming in on Minnesota. +105 are the St. Or sorry, lots of money coming in on St. Louis. These odds just completely flipped. Weird. All right. Minnesota -134 again. And St. Louis Dude, I swear someone's watching this show and just messing with me. Someone from FanDuel was watching this show live and they're messing with me. It's now -126, +105 for St. Louis. We'll see how long that lasts. -105 for Minnesota, +205. Sorry, -1.5 is +205. +1.5 for the Blues is -260. Over 5.5, -105, and the under is -115. I love the Blues lately. I think they're playing really well, but I have a sneaky suspicion this is a good old-fashioned Minnesota beatdown. What do you see here?
I just feel like the books have been disrespectful to the Wild lately. I understand they're beat up, but they're still winning games. I mean, they've won 3 in a row and 5 of 6. And you look what they've done to the Blues this year, 4-1 win and a 4-2 win, both of those games in the St. Louis. So I think you got to go Minnesota here. -125, is just way too generous for a team that's just been flat out better and had their number.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like St. Louis, and I think this team is going to be competitive down the stretch, and I think they are going to be a force to be reckoned with to get into the play. I don't know if they're going to make it to the playoffs, but I don't think that they're going to go away anytime soon. I do like my sneaky long shot goal scorer is not that long shot, and that's Marco Rossi. Excuse me. This guy's having a really good season, and you're talking about the books disrespecting the Minnesota Wild. Marco Rossi +280. The guy has over 15 goals this year. Like, he's having a really good season. For him to be +280 to score, I think that's disrespectful as well. So I'm all over it, man. Marco Rossi +280, and for the Minnesota Wild to score to win tonight at -126. I'll think about the puck line at +205, but I do like the odds on the money line. Moving on to Nashville in Winnipeg, and finally Winnipeg is being given an unbettable money line on, at least for the kind of money that we're dealing with. Winnipeg minus 162. If this was in the minus 120, 130 range again, my head was going to explode. But Winnipeg minus 162 at home, plus 134 are the Predators on the road. Minus 1.5 for Winnipeg is plus 154. Plus 1.5 for Nashville is minus 192. The over minus 122 and the under is plus 100. What do you see here, man? Nashville, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg is usually favored by so much more, especially when they're at home. I know they're on a 3-game losing streak, but what better way to snap it than by beating the Predators again? The last time they won, 3-0 win over Nashville. And that was what, a week ago? Maybe a couple days, 9 days ago, roughly. Just ballpark math here. I know the Predators have won 2 in a row. This is the 6th game in a row on the road for them. We just talked about it with Ottawa. These long road trips, they take their toll. They're 5-13-4 on the road overall this season. One of the lowest scoring teams on the road. I think they crawled out of last place, but they're still obviously not scoring a ton on the road. Winnipeg minus 1.5. It seems way too easy, but I think you just got to do it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I just wanted to interrupt the regularly scheduled programming. I know that you hang on every single word of this and you care about this a lot. Breaking news, Andre, don't you worry about it. Breaking news. Certain roster moves are hinting towards Jalen Hurts returning for the Eagles on Sunday. I know you were concerned about it, and I know it's really been on your mind, but I just want to put you at ease that don't worry, he'll be back, and everything will be okay.
It's really a mistake. I think Tanner McKee's better for the offense, honestly.
Hey, he hasn't looked that bad, dude. Yo, okay, real quickly, I know I'm not trying to be whatever. Please bear with me, okay? I know I'm completely derailing this show, but I really do want to ask you. Do you think they should have played Saquon on Sunday? 110 yards away from the record. Do you think they should have played him 2 days ago against the Giants to beat the all-time record?
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing for a Super Bowl, no.
You don't think so?
I mean, their bye week was week 5, you know? It's a free vacation for the guy. He's taken a lot of damage. He's had to put the offense on his back, especially with Kenny Pickett back there.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, no, you give the guy – I understand why people wanted him to do it. Obviously, one for the record, too, because it was the Giants. But no, it was the right move. If you're trying to win a championship, it was the right move. You give your running back some rest. He had 16 games to have a already historic season. You don't play the vanity move and risk him getting hurt right before the real game starts.
Yeah, I get it, and I probably agree with you. I think as an Eagles fan, like I actually, to be honest, I don't even care that it was against the Giants. Like, that's cool. That would be cool, and it would be poetic and romantic and all that kind of stuff. But for me, it like those records matter. Like, to have the best rushing attack in NFL regular season history. I know there's the extra game and there's more games than there used to be and blah, blah, blah. But I still feel like that matters. And I think it would have been really special, not just for him, but for the whole like offensive unit, right? He's not the only one involved in the running game, right? You got the O-lines in there and everything like that. So I thought that it would be cool, but I get what you're saying. But let's get back to while we're all here. I should probably ask you that off air, but hey, man, you just go with the flow. Yeah, dude, this was because remember we saw this, wasn't it? Nashville playing Washington. Yeah, we just talked about this. It was Nashville play Winnipeg. Those odds were all out of whack, and we're starting to get back to normal. I'm taking Winnipeg minus 1.5 plus 154. If you have watched this show for even one time when the Jets were playing, then you know exactly where I'm going with this. Kyle Connor plus 115 to score. Mark Scheifele plus 165 to score. Oh my goodness. 2+ points. Kyle Connor plus 186. Mark Scheifele plus 220. 2+ points. I'm sorry, dude. My son and my wife are out my window. Can you hear that? It's dark outside,
It's very
and my kid's playing in the snow, and he's losing his mind out there. That was really distracting. Kyle Connor plus 186, 2+ points. Mark Scheifele, 2+ points, plus 220. When one of those guys scores, the other one's getting a point. Those two guys just produce every night for this Winnipeg Jets team. And I love them both to get a goal each and 2 points each as the Winnipeg Jets win minus 1.5. 2 games left on the evening. Calgary Flames in Anaheim plus 132 are the Ducks at home. Minus 160 are the Flames on the road. Minus 1.5 for Calgary's plus 154. Plus 1.5 for the Ducks, minus 192. Over 6.5 is minus 102. Under is minus 120. Andre, what do you got? Flames, Ducks.
There's 2 things here that made this a very easy pick for me. One, I tend to fade the Flames on the road. We've been over this 5-8-4 record, which honestly, low-key improving. I know they lost their last road game. I forgot they had played the Sharks, though. So the Flames are bad on the road. They've also lost 2 in a row, 3 out of 4, whatever you want to call it. Not really playing that well. 2, the Ducks. They've won 4 or 5. Like we just talked about Montreal, they're playing playoff teams. They're playing them well. They look good. Not allowing a lot of goals. The offense has life. I'm taking the Ducks here. Come on. Plus money. It's way too easy. It's just I don't know how to explain it. It's just the Flames aren't scoring. The Flames aren't winning. The Ducks are scoring. The Ducks are winning. The Ducks aren't allowing goals. I know we haven't seen these teams play this year, but the Ducks hung with them last year, and the Ducks were a bad team last year. There's just very little reason that Calgary should be, I guess, favored by this much. I know that odds have shifted a little bit towards Anaheim, but this should be a game where it's probably like, Anaheim plus 110, Anaheim plus 115, not Anaheim plus 130, or I have them at plus 125 right now, but those are off. Ducks plus money, absolutely hammered. They've won 3 in a row at home. They've won 4 or 5. The Flames have lost 3 or 4. As far as a total, I just think 6.5 is a little too much for these teams, especially since, with the way Anaheim has been playing lately, 7 straight without allowing more than 3 goals. Against some of the best offenses in the league, they're going to keep the Flames struggle with scoring, especially lately. The Flames have struggled with scoring on the road this year. It's part of the reason why the road record's so bad. I think Calgary is not going to have a good offensive day, and even if the Ducks score like 4, it's going to be fine for the under. So Ducks win under 6.5. Very easy play for
me. So it turns out, as you wonderful viewers are hearing, it turns out he wasn't scared of the dark at all. He wanted to go on the trampoline with his basketball, and it's like snowing. There's like half a foot of snow on the trampoline. My wife was like, "No, you're not going on the trampoline," and he didn't have any of it. So he's not afraid of the dark. He just wants to shoot hoops on a trampoline with a foot of snow, and he's not very happy with with my wife's decision. So it is what it is. You got to move on. I'm right there with you with Anaheim, man. I think Anaheim wins this game tonight. I really like the way Troy Terry's been playing. He is a goal scorer for me. I'm I'm not seeing his odds on here. Is he playing? No?
You said Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry.
Well, I'm seeing Frank Vetrano plus 200. I don't see Troy Terry on here, but I'll take Frank Vetrano plus 200. Signed a deal. We don't have time to talk about this today, but tomorrow we got to talk about his contract because that is crazy. This Shohei Ohtani mentality getting into the NHL, and I'm really interested to see what you think about it. But we won't talk about it. The total, I'm not worried about. I'm kind of staying away from that. It kind of freaks me out. I hear what you're saying about the under, but I also feel like these teams can kind of self-destruct at any moment, and that could become an over very easily. So I'm just going to take Anaheim plus 132 and call it a day. Moving on, last game of the night, Vegas, San Jose, in San Jose, plus 202. Vegas minus 250 in the Shark Tank. San Jose plus 1.5 is minus 120. Minus 1.5 for Vegas is minus 102. The over is 6.5 at minus 105, and the under is minus 115. What do you got here? Vegas, San Jose.
It's tough. This is tough. You never want to fade the Sharks, right? I mean, you always expect to fade the Sharks, but when they've won 2 in a row, you never know when it's, is this team hot or are the teams they're playing just cold? I will say to their credit, those 2 wins, they allowed 2 goals to the Devils. Very good offensive team. They allowed 1 goal to Tampa. Very good offensive team. Now, both of those teams not playing exactly the best lately. Not really sure if it's a mirage. Especially with this Vegas team, though. And we've seen them beat the Sharks twice already, 7-3, 6-3 this season. Dominant wins, really, for a dominant team. Vegas probably won't and shouldn't let this game be close. They're better than that. Obviously, they're more talented, but just mentally, they haven't let San Jose lull them into a game and trap them. So even on the road, it's kind of hard not to take that minus 1.5. You're looking at minus 110, or I guess at minus 108, which is pretty much the same thing. But for this type of mismatch, you don't really see that in that puck line. It's usually worse, Like what were the Oilers minus 150 puck line against the Ducks the other night? Minus 110. For Vegas here is actually really good puck line odds, considering they're up 13-6 in the aggregate against the Sharks this season. So taking the over because I expect a similar result as the first 2. And one of them was only like a week ago. So
yes. So this one has me kind of in a weird spot because my personal opinion, we talked about this a little bit throughout the last few shows. My personal opinion is Vegas is the best team in the league right now. You can debate if they are the best team or not the best team. Right now, through almost 40 games this season, I think Vegas is the best team in the National Hockey League right now. That's my opinion. You can pick whoever you want, but this Vegas team is unbelievable. Now, on the other hand, the Sharks have been playing teams really tight and really well. And despite losing, they're still playing really close hockey games. And I feel the same way about the Sharks as I do about the Habs, the way I do about the Ducks, or these plus 1.5 lines. If the odds are good, take it. That's how I've been feeling about all 3 of these teams. And minus 120 San Jose at home to be plus 1.5. I really, really like those odds. Now, Vegas has been weird on the road all year long, and they're also Vegas, and this does concern me. Like, I don't really know how to approach it, and I kind of want to stay away for that reason. But honestly, in my gut, I really am looking at San Jose plus 1.5, minus 120 here. They've been playing really, really close, tight games. And it's just hard for me to shake it. I think everything you're saying is right, and I agree with you. It's just hard for me to look at that plus 1.5 at minus 120 and look the other way. I don't know. I really like it. And the total, I'm just staying away from. Celebrini has been a rock star all year long. I like him at plus 230 to score tonight. This guy has 12 goals and he's plus 230 to score. I love it. I'm all over it. I also love always 4+ shots. Tyler Toffoli, 4+ shots, plus 235. That's legit. I don't know why his odds for 4+ shots are what 235. Have we been watching Tyler Toffoli all year? This guy has 4 shots in the first period. I don't understand it, but I'm all over it. So I actually, truthfully, I like the Sharks props more than I like their any side in this game. I like Celebrini to score, and I like Toffoli to get 4+ shots. That's how I feel about it. So that is that. Moving on to our best bet segment, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50%, tons and tons of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Do the math, Andre. 20 becomes 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60. That's pretty good, man. 60% off a sports card. That's not bad. I'll take those, I was going to say odds, gambling on the brain. But yeah, head to firstraundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code SportsAddict for up to 60% off any card in the First Round Collectibles store. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. Sorry, I'm getting like bombarded with messages over here. My brain just fell off my body. Moving on to our best bets. What do you got, man? Lots to choose from tonight. Lots and lots to choose from. And I do want to say, I complain a lot about the odds. And tonight is a really beautiful stagger. We got a cup 708, 709, 709, 2 710s, one game 740, 2 810s, 1 1010, 1 1040. That's beautiful. And I'm not being sarcastic. I mean it. This is what we need more of in our lives, NHL. All right, bro. What do you got as your best bet?
Yeah, I'm locking in the Ducks. The Flames are a bad team on the road. The Ducks are hot right now. The Flames are not right now. Some would call them extinguished flames. I would not. I'd just say they're a little dim. The point being, Anaheim, they're swimming nicely. I'm taking them plus money at home. Lock it in.
I miss reporter Andre. Reporter Andre coming in live. Yeah, I love that bet too. We just went over it. I'm all about it. Where are we at here, man? I think I'm gonna go all the way to the top of the show. They're not my favorite team. I may cover them, but they're not my favorite team. So I feel like I can do this. You know, I hate putting the Leafs on best bets, and I'm not going to do it tonight. So like I said, I may cover the Dallas Stars. But they're not my favorite team, so I feel like I'm allowed to do this. The Dallas Stars, you were all about the minus 1.5, right?
Oh,
for Dallas? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're feeling ballsy like my man Andre, then go for the minus 1.5. I'm keeping it simple. 60-minute line, Dallas Stars minus 115. I do like Dallas to win tonight. No Igor Shesterkin to make 41 stops. Jonathan Quick's been playing a lot of hockey for the Rangers. Still a very good goaltender, but I feel like he's being overused. Like by default, there's nothing else. He has to be overused. There's not really many options they can do. And I feel like that the Dallas Stars really need to turn around how they've been playing on the road. They've been at home for basically a month, dude. They've played like 9 of their last 13 games have been at home. They're rested. They've been at home. They're embarking on this road trip. I like them to get a win tonight. 60-minute line, minus 115.
Okay, locked in. And the last, we know what it is, right?
I don't know if I do, actually. I feel kind of, I don't know. You tell me. What do we feel like?
Okay. Wasn't expecting that from you. So we have, I think, the things we agreed on the most. The over in Jackets Penguins.
Yes.
We both liked that. I think we both liked the Red Wings. I'm going to stay away from the Leafs. And how you feel about that? I think we both like the Jets minus 1.5.
Yeah.
The wild money line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all right, Columbus, Pittsburgh over 6.5 or wild money line. I like the Jets. I like the Jets minus 1.5. Goaltending for Winnipeg's been a little bit weird, and sometimes Nashville does weird things. I do think Winnipeg wins that game, but I think I trust Minnesota money line or Columbus, Pittsburgh over 6.5. You have the freedom.
Well, I already had the over in my bet slip, so we're rolling with that one.
Let's go. Absolutely love it.
So quick recap: Dallas Stars 60-minute line plus 100 for me. Over 6.5 in Pittsburgh is minus 112. The Anaheim Ducks money line tonight plus 124. The 3-pick parlay for me is plus 748.
Whoa! I gotta say, man, I think DK is watching the show because you're winning lately. You're winning these more and more.
I got my people in the case, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's right. Anaheim is plus 132. Dallas minus 115. Over 6.5. The Dallas 60-minute money line is minus 115, and the over 6.5 is minus 112 for Columbus and Pittsburgh. Plus 721, bro. You're right there.
We're fighting back. 2025 is our year. Come on.
Absolutely love it. All right, man. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. As always, we appreciate you taking time out of your Tuesday evening to spend it with us. We will be back tomorrow to break down everything in the National Hockey League tonight. How many games are there tomorrow? I haven't even looked. There's not very many, right?
I literally just closed it.
I think there's like 3. I'll do this quick. There's 4. So we'll talk through tonight's games. We'll talk through tomorrow's games. Thank you to everybody for watching. TotalApexSports.com. Lots of football content, college football, NFL. You want it, you got it. FirstRoundCollectibles.com. Promo code SportsAct 10% off. See you tomorrow.